Speed, convenience, and transparency is what we're all about at Luther Bloomington Subaru. Get your car serviced fast in our state-of-the-art facility, conveniently located in the middle of the Twin Cities. And thanks to our transparent pricing, we dare you to compare us to the competition. So whether you're looking for a new vehicle or servicing your current ride, we'll have you in and out faster than you thought possible. Speed, convenience, and transparency is what we're all about at Luther Bloomington Subaru. Stop in or visit us online today.
No balls in the house.
Our kids can't suck at sports.
That's it. I'm calling Sport Court.
Looks like it's time for a Sport Court. Right now, we're offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Build your dream court now and pay for it next year. Sport Court in Minnesota. No balls in the house.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Several crashes in Minneapolis right now near 394 and 94. This one's 394 westbound at Theodore Worth Parkway. You can see here mostly off on the shoulder. Then 394 at 94. This is on the northbound side of 94. And you can see a couple of different first responders on the scene here with this issue this morning. We're checking back in St. Paul where we had multiple vehicles involved, or at least multiple first responders here at Highway 52 northbound. Now just the one at Plato Boulevard, still blocking that far right lane though, which is pretty popular since that's how you get onto 94. And then 35E at Roselawn Avenue. We showed you this crash just before the break. It's a rollover here as you head into St. Paul this morning, or head out of St. Paul. This is on the northbound side of 35E. Again at Roselawn Avenue, so near Highway 36, where we've seen other issues this morning as well. Obviously way off in the ditch with this one, and plenty of first responders on the scene. Overall, like I said, it's all kind of concentrated at this point. 394 and 94 being one of those trouble areas. Same thing still here at 694 and 35E. We've had trouble around these spots all morning long, so if you do have to traverse that area, just use caution. The 8 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News starts right now.
This is Fox 9 Morning News.
With a potentially historic winter storm, we're all in on weather coverage for you this morning. Bill Keller is live in our mobile weather unit looking at the current road conditions. Leah Bino is in Minneapolis, where residents are taking advantage of free parking.
And Cody Matz is outside on the weather deck with a look at how the storm is measuring up to others. And here in studio, of course, Keith Marler has all the details on what to expect in the days ahead.
But it doesn't stop there. We're also live at MSP, where people are eager to get out of town, away from all this, and in St. Paul, where crews are trying to clear the streets. The Fox 9 Morning News 8 o'clock hour starts right now.
You're watching Fox 9 Morning News.
Well, good morning to you, and there's a snapshot of what's going on. You can see the upper left camera shaking because it is windy out there and it is cold. Good morning and welcome to the 8 o'clock hour of the Fox 9 Morning News. Good to have you waking up with us. I'm Tom Butler.
And I'm Alex Kendall. Yes, we need to talk about the forecast. Meteorologist Keith Marler has been talking about, or talking us through this, I guess you could say. We know this has been coming, and we're just starting to feel the effects of the wind now.
What's nice about winter systems in particular, you can see them from pretty far out. You have plenty of time to prep for them. You make your forecast for them and everything else. And then once you're in them, it's just managing to get through it. This is a 2-round event. Round 1 is pretty much over. Now, most of us have picked up between 3 and 6 inches of snow in the Twin Cities. A lot of 3.5 to 5.5 inches in general across the area. We are seeing a few 6 and 7s just in the immediate South Metro, just south of, I guess, the South Metro. Farmington's, parts of Lakeville, over toward Elko Newmarket, waiting for a few more reports over near Lonsdale as well. But that being said, this round 1 on the low end of our estimates. Round 2 still looks big. I think on the grand scheme of things, we talked about we needed 17 inches to make it into the top 5 of all time. I don't know that the airport will make it there. 16 inches gets us in the top 10. I think that's certainly a little bit more realistic at this point, with a lot of us in the 10 to 16 inch range by the time this wraps up tomorrow. There will be anecdotal, there will be localized folks that are in that 1.5 range, but those again will be in splotchy areas. End of the lull, that's where we live right now, but how about more snow? As round 2 is on its way around 3 or 4 o'clock, and like we've said, round 2 is a bit more aggressive. Round 1 was just the appetizer. Again, we'll clean it up. We manage it. We're getting through it this morning. with some issues, yes, but some preparation was put in place. So teens outside right now, a few single digits off to the northwest with sub-zero readings in northwestern Minnesota for folks that really haven't seen the snow yet. Overnight, we brought in, again, almost anywhere from 4 to 5 inches on average, a few 5.5ers out there. But right here south of town, you're going to see how things are really just kind of still in place. This band just south of town that stretches all the way down to St. James, actually. And within that, there have been some intense bursts, but it's slowing down a little bit on in towards the southeast side of town, Lakeville, down through Faribault, over into Lonsdale and LeSueur, over toward Red Wing, where we're seeing some of those light snowfalls continue. The area of low pressure causing all this down to our south now and our southeast, heading back up toward Michigan. So the back edge, all of this moisture out here comes back on up into the area with those winds from the opposite direction, from the northeast and the north, that are gusting now to 30 miles per hour, but will turn to 40 or even 50 miles per hour as we head on into the later evening and overnight tonight, and that's where our blizzard-like conditions come from. So again, we're looking, you can see the snow there in Red Wing behind us here. We've got ourselves teens this morning, 20s this afternoon. The lull continues through the early afternoon, but around 3 or 4 o'clock, round 2 begins, and that means pulses of heavy snow at times through the evening commute, but especially overnight tonight and in through tomorrow morning. And that's how we're going to pick up another easy 8 to 12 plus inches in round 2 alone. I'll have more details coming up at 8:09. Guys?
All right, thank you, Keith. Well, we are going into the second day now, as Keith was mentioning, of this 3-day snowstorm.
And while the snow might be blowing and snowing, it might be slowing down a little bit this morning. That doesn't mean the commute is getting any better. Bill Keller is live to show us what to expect if we do have to travel this morning. Bill, good morning.
Good morning. In fact, we've made it all the way out to the far western metro out in Minnetrista, where some of the county roads, look at this, they've actually got a fair amount of salt down, and despite the air temperature hovering around 15 degrees or so, that salt is still working. These county roads look pretty good. We've seen some blowing and drifting, though, coming across. We're seeing some of those massive flags that are completely unfurled to give you an idea of how strong the wind is, and that is going to have an impact on some of those icy spots. The problem with some of the wind combined with the type of snow we got, even if the fact that we're in this lull, you're going to get a lot of blowing and drifting, and that is going to kind of polish the road, like the section we're on right now. This is going to be very slippery. If this is an exit or an entrance ramp, that can be very precarious. In fact, maybe a little difficult to see, but there's certainly some snow dancing across the road now. Again, thankfully, the plows have made it through here. That's a good thing, but we're only round 1. We'll hear much more about round 2 coming up. Back to you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Bill. Many Minneapolis and St. Paul drivers had to get their cars off the street due to all the snow and the weather.
And the Twin Cities is offering thousands of parking spots. This is something new for residents to put their car while they kind of hunker down in the next couple of days due to the snow. Leah Bino is live at one of the lots that have now opened up. Are you seeing a lot of people taking advantage of this, Leah?
Oh, yes. People are very, very appreciative of this, especially getting in these spots. Last night, we spoke to a gentleman who said this lot here in the Lynn Lake area uptown, the lot opened for those folks to park for free at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. He pulled in about 2:10, and it was almost full. Now, having said that, there is some fluidity to these situations, these free parking spots, because people do have to go to work and go places today. So some of these spots are slowly opening up, but it's kind of luck of if you need one of these spots, luck of timing of whether or not a spot will be available to you. But again, as we take a look around here, Minneapolis is opening up 7 parking ramps around the city, a lot of them downtown, plus 2 private lots in uptown. These spots will be free for people to park here through February 28th. That is Tuesday, plus ramp A downtown, doing just $1 a day parking. Meantime, over in St. Paul, similar to Minneapolis, opening 8 ramps starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Drivers can leave their vehicles in any of those 8 ramps free of charge. We also spoke to some folks overnight who were looking to get one of these spots and did not, and plenty of people still parking on the street. Here's what one driver had to say.
I'm a little worried about getting out, just like parking on the street and then being able to get out after all the snow hits. So I'll probably be out there with a shovel because I got to get to work.
Yes, Remy there is one of the folks that doesn't have the option of working from home. He works in the medical field, has to drive all the way from the uptown area to Maple Grove. I hope when he kind of makes the rounds, he makes a loop through here because there are open spots available. Again, just have to look for them and a lot of luck. So hopefully for folks that really need them, because a lot of people will be coveting these spots tonight. Cody, let's check in with you. You're over at the weather deck, and it's kind of nice out right now with the sun starting to come up.
I know, it's kind of a misnomer, kind of weird. The lull is involving some sunlight. It's right over my right shoulder on that eastern horizon. So certainly I've seen plenty of snow, getting some wind whip snow in here now. And I keep measuring this. It goes back and forth, about 4.5 in this particular spot. But there's a lot more, obviously, to come. And it's kind of helping. It's coming in two ways. We can clean up from wave 1 and then get through wave 2 and hopefully get through that fairly unscathed as well. Check out the highest, some of the largest snowstorms in Twin Cities history. Of course, Halloween blizzard tops that list, but you go back to the Dome Buster of 2010, that was 17 inches. Now, keep in mind that even if we get that, say hypothetically speaking, it is a different storm than that Dome Buster because we had that 17 inches of snow in about 30 hours. This time around, hypothetically speaking, we get 17 inches of snow. It's almost double that. It takes almost 60 hours to get the same amount of snow. So there is some good news about that, as you can kind of clean up as you go, and MnDOT can kind of keep up, you know, for the most part. So this will likely be somewhere in the top 25. How far we get, yet to be determined. It just all depends on that snowfall rate later on tonight. And if we can actually get past a foot tonight, you do some quick math, that's 15 or 16 plus inches. That's a lot of snow any way you slice it. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, well, we have to be prepared. That's important. Thank you, Cody.
All right, let's get over to Keith Marler, talk about our weather and what's going on. We're in the lull, as we could hear. The sun's even out right now, but we know what's coming.
I like the lull. And I like that little disc. I saw that on our Maple Grove camera a while ago. I'm showing you Red Wing again just to show you that it is, even though we're in a lull, there is a band of snow that's through Red Wing over and down toward Mankato and kind of cruises over that 35 corridor between Lakeville and Faribault. And that is continuing to see some snow. We've seen some reports of 6 and 7 inches now in some of those locations, while most of us have seen anywhere from 3.5 on the low end to 5.5 on the high end. Now, that's not quite the 4 to 8 spread until you get into this extra burst going on there. So there are going to be some folks on the higher end of our round 1, 4 to 8 scale, but most of us are settling out in the 4, 5, 5.5 inch range. Then we are still looking at anywhere from 8 to 12 plus inches in round 2. And that's what we're talking about. Generically, a foot to a foot and a half of snow coming on in here by tomorrow while it all wraps up. A lot of us in the 10 to 16 inch range. Spotty flakes and 15 now out the door, but we're heading to around 19 as we just have blowing snow concerns for the middle part of the day. Round 2 arrives around 3 or 4 o'clock. Teens right now, but teens below. Folks that haven't seen the snow, you just have the colder air and the clearer air in general up there. Our gusts are settling on down. We've had gusts at times this morning to 30. They're dying off slightly to around 20 or 25 miles per hour, but then they'll surge back up again with round 2, and that's where we'll see gusts from 40 to 50 miles per hour across the state. Quick note, we feel like we're 1, so it is cold outside, but wind chills close to 25 or even 30 below in northwestern Minnesota for this morning. Again, northwestern Minnesota, you don't have the snow yet. You get into round 2, though. Same for the north, but that band that has set up just south of town continues again to stretch from St. James and Mankato all the way back around through Red Wing again as it kind of pulls on by. Some light flakes around the Twin Cities. The lull here and there will bring another, again, maybe another inch into the lunch hour or so, depending on where you are and what type of snow you're getting. But most of us are settling on down with round 2 rolling on in. Hello there, around 3 o'clock, plus or minus, kind of like what we did yesterday. Either side of 3 o'clock, we saw round 1 move on in, and round 2 about the same time today. But this one has a little bit more punch, a little bit more gust, a little bit more viv in the grand scheme of things, and that's why our blizzard warning converts over. Everyone is in it in the red zones by noon today. Western Minnesota, you're already there on the Dakotas border. Winds gusting to 50 miles per hour later today, tonight especially, and into tomorrow morning, and that will cause whiteout concerns. Of course, our winter storm warning just continues for the rest of us. We're in it now. We will continue it through noon. All these go through noon tomorrow. 20s today, lull with some heavier snow arriving toward the end of the day through your evening commute. Heavy snow at times tonight. Again, an additional 8 to 12 plus inches possible overnight tonight and through tomorrow morning's commute. But by lunchtime, it's done. Then cloudy and chillier teens for tomorrow afternoon as we slowly clean up. I'll have more details on the 7-day coming up in just 8 minutes. Fox 9 returns right after this.
I was on my way from work one evening and I got rear-ended by a pickup, which was rear-ended then by a van. After I could not work for about a week or so, my bills were piling up. I had to get an attorney. The service that I got from Bob and his team was unbelievable. He told me to relax, just concentrate on getting healed.
Butt-Winnick Injury Law. Call for a free consultation. Your injury is our fight.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
The advice that I would give a friend if they were in a crash, I would tell them to call TSR right away.
I was extremely impressed with the overall support as well as the legal system.
They're going to take incredible care of you. They're going to fight for you, and they're going to make sure that your family has whatever they need.
They took care of me, and I really appreciate them.
I think if you want the best, call TSR.
Call us now and thank us later. 612 TSR time.
No balls in the house.
Our kids can't suck at sports.
That's it. I'm calling Sport Court.
Looks like it's time for a sport court. Right now, we're offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Build your dream court now and pay for it next year. Sport Court of Minnesota. No balls in the house.
When you make a decision, you tend to weigh your options, right? Compare, contrast, or maybe even do a little window shopping. So why not do the same when it comes to your insurance?
Or better yet, let us do it for you. Insurance Brokers of Minnesota. We work for you. Find you the best coverage at the best price. Don't pay your next premium until you call us. Insurance Brokers of Minnesota. One call, stops all.
We partner with some of the best insurance companies, like Auto Owners Insurance.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Taking a live look, not a live look. This is a crash that we saw earlier this morning at Highway 52. You can see that pickup truck just hit some ice, went off the road. Now, if we pull up the live shot of it, this is what it's looking like. This is about, 30 minutes later since that crash happened. And you can see that pickup truck still blocking the right lane there on Highway 52 northbound for anyone traveling into St. Paul. We have 2 rollover crashes I want to get to this morning. This is Highway 13 eastbound at Black Hawk Road. You can see in Eagan, this is blocking, well, at least it was blocking one of the lanes, not really anymore, but obviously going to take a minute to clear that one up this morning. Looks like things have cleared, or are clearing at least, at 694 and White Bear Avenue. This one's been there for some time today. And then our other rollover is at 35E in Roselawn. So this is just south of Highway 36 in the Little Canada, St. Paul area. You can see that one is far off on the shoulder on the northbound side, but still, it has been there for some time now, really making people slow down. And you can see plows out and about this morning, as you saw with just that one there. This is 35W at Highway 13. It's the ramp to get on to, Highway 13 from 35W southbound. You can see it's a lone vehicle that's just sort of stuck there, so temporarily closing this ramp here in Burnsville this morning. It's been busy, not as bad as it could be. I think a lot of you did stay home. We do have one spin out there in Rogers on I-94 in the heart of the metro. Still, things have gotten better on 694, but you can still see some major slowdowns there near White Bear Avenue. Here's a couple of different issues on Highway 100 at 394 and of course on Highway 52. And finally in the South Metro, Highway 13 and 35W, a couple of problems there in Burnsville and Eagan. Tom and Alex?
Some issues. Thank you, Kendall. The roads aren't the only thing being affected by this latest round of snow this morning.
KMSP International is already canceling hundreds of flights. Hannah Flood joined us now. She's in studio with more on how air travel is faring this morning at MSP. Good morning, Hannah.
Yeah, good morning, Tom and Alex. The situation at MSP has gotten steadily worse really throughout the morning. Some cancellations started last night, but it's really ramped up throughout today. About half of the commercial flights that we typically see going out of MSP International on a daily basis are canceled this morning. Here's a live look at MSP right now. You can see people are still showing up to the airport. Current numbers from their website show 364 canceled flights this morning, another 3 delays. To put that in perspective, about 4 hours ago, that number was 150 canceled flights. So it's doubled since then. A lot of changes in the last few hours. This morning, we've been talking to people crossing their fingers, hoping they're the lucky ones and that their flights are not called off this morning. Also talking to people making some last-minute changes.
Well, we drove up from the North Shore, and it was nice until we got to about Hinckley. And then it just started snowing like crazy. But it wasn't blowing too hard, so I think we're gonna miss that, hopefully.
Well, we were supposed to fly out tomorrow, but they canceled the flight, so we got on today. Super excited about it.
Yeah, a lot of people making those changes. Earlier this week, several airlines started issuing travel waivers so people could do some shuffling around, maybe reschedule the flight looking for some of these lull periods. If you are flying over the next few days, be sure to double check the status of your flight on MSP's website. You don't want to get all the way there on these challenging roads only to find out that your flight isn't going anywhere. Tom and Alex, we do expect these flight challenges to continue into tomorrow with the snow expected.
No question about
Right.
that.
Most likely a domino effect that will be happening.
Thanks for the update.
All right, Keith has your forecast coming up in just 15 seconds.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
I present to ye fresh snowfall totals. Waseca coming in at 7 inches of snow now. Hello there, Waseca. I like seeing that. That's giving us some proof that that band that's set up just south of town is churning in those 6s and 7s. Rochester at 6 inches of snow. You're outside the band I'm referring to, but you've seen snow through the night. Wilmer coming in at 5.5. These are all fresh over the past hour and a half. Savage at 5.3. Hudson, Wisconsin coming in at 5. Chanhassen at 4.8. That was at 6 o'clock this morning. Plymouth at 4 inches of snow. That may have been me at 3 o'clock this morning. And 4.1 inches of snow at the airport as of 6 a.m. Again, we've seen some snow since then, but especially just south of town. Again, that was Waseca 7 inches. Goes along with what we've seen all the way back up through Lonsdale over towards Farmington and Northfield from just some anecdotal reports from this morning. 15 degrees coming on in here right now with a northeast wind at 16. We've had gusts to 30. Those gusts are settling in down slightly, but they'll be sporadic through the day before they really push into round 2 after 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, but especially this evening and overnight tonight. Our wind chill down to 1 below, by the way. Our round 2 rolls on in later today, but right now and through the lunch hour, we're kind of in the lull. We'll see some light flakes and flurries. We'll see occasional gusts. We'll have blowing snow here and there, but some folks picking up an additional trace to an inch between now and early afternoon, depending on if you get those snow bursts. I-90, your lull is not much of a lull, as round 2 for you really begins around lunchtime and really takes us into the Twin Cities around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Those winds really pick up out of the northeast, gusts to 40 miles per hour possible starting into your evening commute and especially overnight tonight. That's when the heaviest of snow will fall. Again, these brighter whites really flaring around midnight and again into our morning commute. And that's what we're talking about, an additional 8 to 12 plus inches across parts of central and especially southern half of our viewing area. By lunchtime tomorrow, round 2 over. And it's all about the cleanup as we have chillier weather rolling in from there. But again, an additional 8 to 12 inches possible on top of what you already have. Let that settle on in there for a little bit. That's why we're still talking about a foot to a foot and a half possible. At the airport's always a little sketchy. 17 inches puts us in the top 5 category. 16 inches puts us in the top 10 snowstorms of all time category. We'll aim for that direction, but again, we'll settle out somewhere in between 10 to 16 inches for most of the metro as a whole. But again, a foot to a foot and a half for most. An additional 5 to 8 into central Minnesota and 2 to 5 up across the north. Your snow timeline looks like this. The lull in the storm occurring now through early afternoon, a trace to an inch possible, with those increasingly gusty winds becoming a little bit more persistent. Round 2 rolls on in around 3 or 4 o'clock with 5 to 8 plus inches possible through the evening tonight, right up into the morning commute, and then for the morning commute into the lunch hour, an additional 2 to 4 as those winds and that snow slowly tapers on off. That's how we end up with, again, generically, a foot plus to a foot and a half for some. Blowing snow concerns in through the afternoon tomorrow at 17, but down to 7 below into Friday morning. Cold day on Friday with a flurry at night, but then starting to thaw out again, at least teasing it, by Sunday afternoon, and a rain-snow mix possible by Monday. Fox 9 returns. We're back after this.
I was on my way from work one evening and I got rear-ended by a pickup, which was rear-ended then by a van. After I could not work for about a week or so, my bills were piling up. I had to get an attorney. The service that I got from Bob and his team was unbelievable. He told me to relax, just concentrate on getting healed.
But Winnick Injury Law. Call for a free consultation. Your injury is our fight.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
I was a passenger. My best friend was driving. A family hit us, and they hit us really hard. I was injured. I had back and neck pain, and I was referred over to TSR from a friend who had used them previously. The most surprising thing about TSR is they treated us like family. They were able to make things a lot easier so that I was able to heal with my injuries. I'm just grateful for TSR.
Call us now and thank us later. 612 TSR time.
No balls in the house.
Our kids can't suck at sports.
That's it. I'm calling Sport Court.
Looks like it's time for a sport court. Right now, we're offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Build your dream court now and pay for it next year. Sport Court of Minnesota. No balls in the house.
Welcome back on this Wednesday, an active day certainly in the weather department. 8:25 is the time. New at 8, a woman is dead. A man is in the hospital after a shooting in Minneapolis. Police say the pair arrived at the hospital with gunshot wounds about 6:45 last night. The woman, who we're told was in her 20s, died at the hospital. A 40-something-year-old man, and his injuries potentially life-threatening. Police believe the shots were fired into a vehicle near West Broadway and North 27th Avenue. Police are still working to figure out who pulled the trigger. And authorities say a driver took his own life after a chase in northern Minnesota. State troopers were chasing a vehicle that was speeding when it went off of I-35 near Sandstone yesterday afternoon. The BCA says the driver refused to leave the car, and when deputies approached, they found the driver dead with a gunshot wound to the head. No troopers or deputies fired their weapons. A gun was recovered from that vehicle. I'll stay right there. It is all about weather today, certainly, as we get into tomorrow. Keith Marlowe will be up to tell us what's going on. We're also out there, of course, with team coverage showing you what to expect with our storm that is rolling through. Stay right there.
I was on my way from work one evening and I got rear-ended by a pickup, which was rear-ended then by a van. After I could not work for about a week or so, my bills were piling up. I had to get an attorney. The service that I got from Bob and his team was unbelievable. He told me to relax, just concentrate on getting healed.
But Winnick Injury Law. Call for a free consultation. Your injury is our fight.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
I was a passenger. My best friend was driving. A family hit us, and they hit us really hard. I was injured. I had back and neck pain, and I was referred over to TSR from a friend who had used them previously. The most surprising thing about TSR is they treated us like family. They were able to make things a lot easier so that I was able to heal with my injuries. I'm just grateful for TSR.
Call us now and thank us later. 612 TSR Time.
Joining Medicare probably isn't on your bucket list, but choosing a Medicare plan is important. That's why I chose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. Blue Cross is nonprofit, so instead of making shareholders wealthy, they focus on making you and me healthy, so we can keep doing things we like, or tackle things from our bucket list.
Call or go online now for your free step-by-step guide to Medicare. You and Blue, better together.
Welcome back to the Fox 9 Morning News. Now here's your weather on the 9s.
Live look in Maple Grove this morning, the hints of some sun beaming down between some heavily filtered cloud cover as we are in the lull between our two rounds of this particular low pressure area that's coming on through. Most of us around the area have picked up between 4 and 7 inches of snow. Those higher amounts are just south of town. Into the lull we go for the morning, but then how about more snow for round 2? That's where we're looking at another 8 to 12 plus inches rolling in with some heavy snow at times through the night tonight and into the morning commute for tomorrow. And that's why we have some blizzard warnings that kick off, well, they're already going in western Minnesota, but they'll even kind of skim on over towards Glencoe, New Prague, Jordan, Shakopee, Chaska, and Chanhassen. You're part of that blizzard warning starting at noon today. The rest of us in a winter storm warning. Teens, for most of us, out the door, single digits, become sub-zero the farther northwest you go in northwestern Minnesota. We've watched that snow through the night, taper off to our lull, but our lull doesn't mean all the snow is gone. And we've seen this nice little band set up now, Mankato over toward Red Wing. This little guy here has some 6ers and 7s in it. That's where we see those 6 and 7 inch markers around Waseca, back through Farmington as well. All this energy, though, collapses slowly as it dwindles on down, but round 2 awaits on the backside of our area of low pressure. The low pressure area down to our south that moves back up towards the northeast. So all of this moisture on the backside of it all is developing and will slide back up our way while the winds are coming in from the northeast, and that just becomes a mess. So for today, most of us a lull. Again, a little gusty at times, a little breezy, some blowing snow concerns. Teens become lower 20s. But then by 3 or 4 o'clock, that round 2 is moving in from the south into the Twin Cities, and we'll see more aggressive snowfalls at that point, a heavier rate of snow into your evening commute, and especially tonight as those winds will gust to 40 or 50 miles per hour and cause whiteout conditions, especially west of town, and for the better part of the night. That's where we're going to pick up our additional 8 to 12 inches into tomorrow morning. I'll have more details coming up over the next 19 minutes, but let's get a check of traffic with Kendall Martin. Good morning, Kendall.
Good morning, and taking a live look in Inver Grove Heights, 494 westbound at Hardman Avenue. This crash is blocking the left lane. Obviously, plenty of first responders there on site. 35E at Roselawn Avenue. If you're traveling into St. Paul this morning, you will see this overturned vehicle here on 35E northbound. And it looks like this one just pulled away, so we'll hop off of this camera at 494 and 35W. It was blocking that on-ramp at one point. Highway 13 at Blackhawk Road, this overturned vehicle, this rollover, has been right-sided, so good news there. We do have a crash at 35W and County Road 42 zoomed in pretty tight at the moment, but you can see where that issue is. Obviously, a lone vehicle sort of sitting there with some front-end damage. And finally, 94 at Portland Avenue. If you're traveling into Minneapolis, there's actually several incidents near 94, 35W, and 394. So just use caution in that area. Right around here is what I'm talking about. Just several different spots around there. Must be very slick on 94 and 394. Good news, things are starting to clear. Other news, new crashes are popping up. Tom and Alex.
Yeah, we don't like to hear more crashes. Thank you, Kendall.
Good morning. Welcome to the Fox 9 Morning News. If you're just tuning in here at 8:30, I'm Alex Kendall.
I'm Tom Butler. Good to have you with us. And we know the winter weather is back big time in the Twin Cities. All of the metro still working to keep up with the snowfall from overnight and this morning.
And in order to do that, many cities have already declared snow emergencies starting tonight, and that includes Minneapolis and St. Paul. And this morning we're joined by Sean Kershaw, who is the Director of Public Works in St. Paul. Good morning, Sean.
Morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about side streets now in St. Paul. They are still recovering from that last round of snow we saw. So how are you hoping to keep up with this latest storm?
What we've done, it's an unusual snow. We have been plowing since the snow started falling. Snow emergencies for us are really about those side streets that you mentioned. So in this unusual situation, we took the unusual step of declaring back-to-back snow emergencies. And so what this means is we're already out plowing. We'll be pre-treating the streets. But tonight, starting at 9, will be our first round. And that's snow emergencies allow us to go into residential streets. So we'll do a night round tonight, a day tomorrow, that's all residential streets, and then we'll start it all over again tomorrow night. So our plow drivers and all our support staff are going to be working hard to get those residential streets cleaned up.
Well, we understand St. Paul is planning to open 8 ramps later today for free parking for those looking to get their cars off the street and help the plow drivers get through. Tell us a bit more about those plans.
What we've done is make about 6,000 spaces downtown, and the map you're showing is really helpful. If you can find these exactly by going to stpaul.gov/snow, we've posted a map there. But these are places where people can park their cars starting tonight at 5 and for free and stay there until Saturday morning or until they need to get them out. So a lot of folks in St. Paul live on streets where it's hard to not park, and the most important thing people can do is move their cars off the streets or move them as our snow emergency emerges according to the schedule. And so these ramps make it easier for us to clean up the side streets.
Sure.
On-street parking has been frustrating for many residents in St. Paul and Minneapolis. We're talking about that. I know for me in Minneapolis, it was comforting to see we had snowplowers coming down my alley this morning as I was getting ready to leave, and that has got to be the first in a long time.
I think for Minneapolis, it is for both cities. The volume of snow has meant that we've had to change our strategies. So Minneapolis has been doing that in alleys. We've been primarily on the main street so far, the arterials and collectors, and it's tonight that allow us to get into those side streets. But both cities are doing things in a kind of an unprecedented way, given the potential of this snow.
And can you give us an idea how long you think it'll take to wrap up the removal from this system that's coming through the next one on top of the first one we've already had?
Yeah, that's a great question. The goal in our first phase, so that starts tonight and tomorrow, isn't to eliminate all the snow because it's going to be snowing that whole time. It's to make the streets safe for our emergency vehicles. So in this first phase, so starting tonight and then tomorrow's day phase, our goal is not to get all the snow off. It's to make it safe for the ambulances, the fire rigs, and the police trucks or the police cars. Starting on the second snow emergency, so that's tomorrow night, that's where we will take all the time we need to get as much snow as possible off of all the streets. Right. So we hope to have it fully cleaned up probably by Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, that is good news. There is a lot of snow that you'll be getting rid of. It's a big job. Sean Kershaw from St. Paul Public Works, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and don't forget about the fire hydrants, too, if you can.
Dig those out.
You got to do those. Remember, as the storm continues to impact the metro and beyond, you can monitor road conditions, you can track school closings, and see the latest radar on our Fox 9 weather app. It is free to download through the App Store or on Google Play.
8:36, there is still much more to come here on Fox 9 Morning News.
Let's see what Shane Wells is up to this morning.
A little Warrior 3. with a first grade class this morning. Yoga coming to the schools thanks to an organization called One Love Yoga. We'll tell you all about them coming up after the break.
I was hit by a vehicle and was seriously injured. My life just flipped upside down in a matter of minutes. I was, overwhelmed with medical bills, hospital bills, and he helped me through all of that. I interviewed 5 different attorneys, and when I met with Bob, I really felt that he cared about me as a person, and I really connected with him and felt he was going to help me.
But Winnick Injury Law. Call for a free consultation. Your injury is our fight.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
I lost my leg in an accident. It changed my life forever. I didn't know who to call. I was referred to TSR by another injury lawyer. I was very happy with the outcome. My lawyer was on the ball, and he far exceeded my expectations. He gave me my life back. TSR makes you feel like family. They're very relatable, down to earth. If I was ever in another accident, that would be the first call I would make.
Call us now and thank us later. 612-TSR time.
Last year, Devin bought 12 pieces of Minnesota memorabilia, got 1 Minnesota tattoo, and donated to 2 Minnesota charities. How can Devin add to his collection and give back to the state he loves? Life math is complicated. Reward points you can donate make it easier. Affinity Plus.
Joining Medicare probably isn't on your bucket list, but choosing a Medicare plan is important. That's why I chose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. Blue Cross is nonprofit, so instead of making shareholders wealthy, they focus on making you and me healthy, so we can keep doing things we like, or tackle things from our bucket list.
Call or go online now for your free step-by-step guide to Medicare. You and Blue. Better together.
Welcome back to Fox 9 Morning News.
Of course, our big story today is the heavy snow and the strong winds. We will have a lull in midday. That is good news. Currently, it's 15 degrees. Today, we're just going up to 22. And around 3 or 4 o'clock is when you can expect round 2 of this massive storm. But, of course, keep it right here on Fox 9. We'll keep you updated. All right, a local nonprofit has made it their mission to bring yoga to the classroom, and the program has taken off. So much so, they have a wait list of schools wanting to participate. Shane Wells joined the One Love Yoga team this morning to get a glimpse at how it works with some of the youngest yogis.
I'm going to help. I love that you guys let me be a part of your yoga experience this morning.
I love my family.
We're checking out the One Love Yoga, which is bringing yoga into schools all across the Twin Cities. And you can see they're sharing what they're grateful for, also getting a core workout without even knowing it. Holly Bussell, founder of One Love Yoga. This is incredible. We've been talking about doing this story and coordinating on getting into school. How long have you been in the schools now at this point?
So 2 years.
2 years.
And in this school specifically, 2 years. Yeah.
Long relationship here.
Long relationship. We're here twice a week. So we get to see each classroom minimum of once a week and sometimes even 2 times.
And when it comes to yoga with kids, I know a lot of people have a stereotype. It's like a lot of sitting and quiet and silence. Obviously, it's been adapted for kids.
100%.
So how does this look different than like an adult walking into a class?
Very differently. The kids are ready to move. They need to move energy in their body before they can be calm, but we also spend a lot of time teaching them certain techniques once they have had the moment to move energy, to breathe, and then to just rest. So it adapts in many ways, as you can see. There's a lot of talking, and it's very interactive versus an adult class that we're just quiet and listen.
Right. And I think as kids, it's interesting you say learning to breathe because it's not something we think about often, but that's a big part of yoga is just paying attention to your breath. And I think that's an important lesson for a kid that's a little hard to teach in the regular world.
It is.
So when it comes to this program, you do kindergarten to how old have you guys done?
Sure. So right now we're serving preschool to high school.
Preschool to high school.
So preschool to high school, it looks very different for each of the kids. The older kids are still very much interested in that calming piece and that resting piece. They just feel like they don't get it enough. These kids, they need to move before they rest.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So if someone wants to support One Love Yoga, they can support by attending our gala.
So the gala is happening on a Friday night at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum. Before we send it back to the studio, what do you notice from kids who go through this program, start to finish?
Start to finish, just more social emotional regulation. Also, they're more positive mind focused. So they are more apt to start bringing in language such as, I love myself, or there's a problem to or there's a solution to every problem.
Even at this age?
Even at this age, positive mantras. I can take a deep breath when I need one. I am a good friend. I hear them starting to solve more of the problems that they're feeling inside that they're less apt to talk to us about, even just with a deep breath.
Such important lessons that they can take with them through their entire life.
Entire life.
Holly, we appreciate it.
Thank you
and
so much.
Ms. Parks, first grade class. I don't want to disrupt because they're in their moment of zen right now. With that, though, we will send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yes, namaste. Some good yoga breathing would be good today. That's a look, by the way, at a large salt pile in St. Paul, which, of course, is critical to keeping the roads safe. We are team coverage all day long on what's going on with our winter storm. We'll be right back.
I was on my way from work one evening and I got rear-ended by a pickup, which was rear-ended then by a van. After I could not work for about a week or so, my bills were piling up. I had to get an attorney. The service that I got from Bob and his team was unbelievable. He told me to relax, just concentrate on getting healed.
Butt-Winnick Injury Law. Call for a free consultation. Your injury is our fight.
Keep out the cold with the beautiful energy-efficient entry or patio door from Window Concepts. Now is the time to upgrade the front of your home with a new entry door or replace that worn-out patio door. We feature hundreds of different styles and options to meet your needs. Call today and get $300 off per door, plus no interest for 18 months. And with every free estimate, Window Concepts will give you a $50 Target gift card.
Call Window Concepts or log on to windowconceptsmn.com.
I was a passenger. My best friend was driving. A family hit us, and they hit us really hard. I was injured. I had back and neck pain, and I was referred over to TSR from a friend who had used them previously. The most surprising thing about TSR is they treated us like family. They were able to make things a lot easier so that I was able to heal with my injuries. I'm just grateful for TSR.
Call us now and thank us later. 612 TSR time.
There we are, live look, Minneapolis. You can see Target Field and the snow on the field. Baseball, a little over a month away. Doesn't feel like it right now, does it? 8:45 is the time. We're getting a better idea of just how much the downtown workforce has shrunk over the past 2 years with COVID. The Minneapolis Downtown Council is out with its annual list of the largest employers in the city's central business district. Nick Halter from Axios Twin Cities joins us this morning with a look at those numbers. Nick, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you.
Good morning, Tom. I got my driveway shoveled. I got 3 kids home from canceled daycare. Yeah. I feel like Jack Nicholson in The Shining right now.
Let's hope it doesn't escalate.
Yeah. It won't escalate.
Right. Let's start with Target. We know historically they have been the largest downtown employer. You looked at the numbers. How are the numbers looking now?
Yeah, Target, we're getting a pretty interesting glimpse at sort of some of the biggest companies downtown and sort of how they've changed their workforce over the past 3 years. And Target, for example, they used to have 8,500 employees downtown when the pandemic started. Well, this report came out and it showed there's only 7,100 right now. So they lost 1,400 workers are no longer assigned to their downtown Minneapolis headquarters. We knew there was something like this happening, but we didn't know the magnitude of it because Target had announced they were going to move some of their employees to Brooklyn Park, and then some of them were going to be assigned remote. But now we have a better idea, and it's a pretty significant reduction.
Yeah, I would say so. And where does Target's work from home policy currently stand?
It's one of the most called liberal, I think, of the big Twin Cities companies. You know, other big companies like Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, they've already sort of push their employees back to the office at least a few days a week. Target's is very lenient. I mean, you can, there are plenty of employees who are not going in at all or just very, very seldomly. So even though these employees are assigned downtown, they're not really going in.
Right, and that, of course, has the ripple effect for you've got restaurants and other businesses downtown that need those bodies. So what is the Downtown Council, the Business Council, saying about the overall picture of workers returning to the office in Minneapolis?
Yeah, well, you just noted it. There's this whole Skyway ecosystem that is based, upon workers like this, and it's not just Target. I mean, there's other companies who have also, they've been starting to have more remote work, and sometimes they're actually hiring people who don't even live in the Twin Cities, and they work for the company. But to your point, I mean, Caribou Coffee, the Business Journal reported this last week that 4 of their Skyway shops are closing this next month. So a company like Caribou, they know downtown Skyway, they've been there for years. So if they're kind of pulling out, that'd be about a third of their shops downtown. That sort of shows you what's happening, and that's just something less than half of the normal employment downtown is just not sustainable for a lot of these restaurants.
And then, of course, the fear is more dominoes will fall as the rest of them see the issues with just the lack of numbers down there, lack of people.
It really is just a numbers game. I mean, if you had 200,000 workers before, and now call it 100 or 80,000 workers, I mean, there theoretically should only be half as many coffee shops or half as many restaurants.
Yeah, so. You're right. It's a sad kind of reality we're facing right now. Hopefully we'll bounce back. We're good at that. We'll see.
Not necessarily unique to the Twin Cities.
No, it
either.
isn't. It isn't. Not indicative to just here. Nick, thanks so much. Nick Halter from Axios Twin Cities. Appreciate it, Nick. We'll chat again soon. And you can read Nick's stories at Axios Twin Cities. Just head to axios.com/local news. All right, let's get over to Keith Marler, talk about our local weather. It's been certainly omnipresent as far as the storms coming through. We had the Clipper on Monday, separate from this storm.
That was 1 to 2 inches. That was a Clipper system that dove through on our Monday morning. By the afternoon, we teased some sunshine. We had the sun yesterday morning before round 1 rolled on in around 3 o'clock yesterday. And now that we're finished with round 1, we've got a little peak of some sunshine as well, a little filtered sun, but still nonetheless, as we're kind of basking in some of that. That's led to a clearer sky up north and some very cold temperatures up north. It's around 20 below up on the other side of Bemidji this morning. Our snowfall totals so far, a few fresh totals keep coming in. Waseca now at 7 inches of snow, Rochester at 6, Lakeville 5.5, Wilmer 5.5. We have a whole slew of reports that are starting to come in, anecdotal reports between Farmington, Northfield, over toward Elko Newmarket, down toward Lonsdale, and over towards Did I say Faribault? Between 5.5 and 7 inches of snow. So again, that's all supported with that bigger band that lasted a little longer just south of town. Still some sputterings there. Savage 5.3, Hudson, Wisconsin 5, and Chanhassen at the National Weather Service 4.8. That was at 6 o'clock this morning, and 4.1 at the airport. Again, that was back at 6 a.m. 16 degrees outside right now with a northeast wind at 16 miles per hour. Gives us a wind chill of 1. Our winds are gusting at times, though, between 20 and 30 this morning. We will get gusts closer to 40 through the evening and overnight tonight during the round 2 portion, and winds gusting to 50 miles per hour just west of town and all over western Minnesota. And that's causing blizzard-like conditions, thus the blizzard warning that goes right up into the west side of town. Chanhassen, Shakopee, over towards Glencoe. You're all part of that blizzard warning, the southwest metro, as you switch over at noon. We've got ourselves, the rest of us, a winter storm warning. Again, that blizzard warning kicks in for everyone else. The lull takes us through the middle part of the day. Snow continues into far southern Minnesota, and round 2 really begins on the I-90 corridor as the morning progresses. As the round 2 rolls up for the rest of us, though, that's when we start to see some more aggressive snows into our evening commute, with some heavier bursts possible in the middle of the night, and more heavy bursts in splotchy areas into tomorrow morning. That's where we're going to see a bigger range start to pick up. Again, a 3-inch range this morning for most is pretty indicative, but we might see a 6-inch differentiation across even parts of the Twin Cities from some of these bursts that come on by. That will lift to the north, and round 2 over as we go on into the afternoon tomorrow, allowing us to clean up. But we are talking about, on top of what you have now, an additional 8 to 12 inches possible. An additional 5 to 8 in central Minnesota, and about 2 to 5 just of fresh snow in northern parts of Minnesota. And that's how our totals end up, 12 to 16, pretty going to be average across the Twin Cities. That 16 would put us on the edge of getting into the top 10 all-time snowstorms, but there will be folks that are closer to 1.5 feet, I think, no problem. So the lull in the storm continues into the afternoon, another trace to an inch, depending on what type of snow little burst you get with our flurries. Round 2 of heavy snow returns toward around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon into your evening commute. 5 to 8 plus inches tonight and into the morning commute, and then heavy snow winds down with another 2 to 4 inches through the morning commute up until around the lunch hour as it all falls apart through tomorrow afternoon. 17 for tomorrow with a very cold night into Friday morning. 11 and frigid on Friday with some flurries in the evening. And then warming up again. 30s return on Sunday with a chance for a rain-snow mix as we head on into the day on Monday. All right, let's get a check of traffic one last time with Kendall Mark. Hey, Kendall.
Hey, good morning. And in an odd turn of events, in the last 5 minutes, most of our crashes actually cleared. So good news, but we still do have some out on the roadways. All of them are blocking lanes. This is one at Highway 52 northbound near Briggs Drive in Rosemont on your way into Invergrove Heights. You can see this one obviously fully blocking that left lane this morning. Another over in Brooklyn Park. These not blocking any lanes yet. At least it doesn't look like it. Underneath that overpass, there may be some lanes blocked, but multiple vehicles have spun out in this area. As you can see, you can even see the tracks from where they spun out and clearly where they have arrived and landed after that. This crash in Shoreview as you head into Little Canada is on 694 eastbound at Rice Street. This is one of those trouble spots today. 694 to 35E really in the Little Canada area. Shoreview, White Bear Lake area, that's where we've seen a lot of trouble and obviously very windy, which is why our jam cams look like this, but blocking 2 lanes at the moment. And you can see some front end damage there. Here's where that crash is. The rest of you, when you get to the South Metro, you can see that issue on 52. Wanted to mention this one on 77 northbound near Cliff Road and 35E. They've actually blacked out that camera, but there were 5 different vehicles involved in a major wreck. So if folks are traveling through that area, Tom, just really use caution again on Cedar northbound near 35E.
Yeah, very much so. All right, Kendall, thanks so much. One of those days, it is the second morning of this 3-day snowstorm, and while the snow might be slowing down a bit this morning, that doesn't mean our commute is getting any better, as we just saw with what Kendall was showing us with the jam cams. The snow blowing around, and it's causing problems for the commute. Let's check in with Bill Keller. He is live this morning. Tell us where you are and how it has been.
Good morning, Tom. Yeah, we are out in Waconia. Talk about snow blowing around. Take a look at this. This is Highway 10 north of Lake Waconia, and we have seen just blowing and drifting snow all morning long. You see these cars coming through here. It doesn't really affect the visibility, but that's going to be a big change in the next day or two when that round 2 comes around. You know, you've got 3 to 5 inches of fresh snow on top of what was essentially compacted snow ice. So it's really easy to move around right now. And so you want to be very careful out here. Again, round 1, it's not so much about the accumulation, but about those slick roads, and that stuff that is sliding across the road right now also has a really good job of polishing that surface to a mirror finish. It can be very slippery out there. Tom.
Yeah, no question. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. And remember, of course, when we are out there with all that snow piling up, Minnesotans, keep your shovels and snow blowers handy. We're doing that, certainly. But remember, they come with risks. Shoveling snow by hand is time-consuming, we know, can often cause problems to your back and heart issues if you are you have a propensity for that. Snowblowers also can cause serious injuries. Since 2003, 9,000 Americans have injured their hand with a snowblower, including many amputations. Many of these injuries happen when the chute gets clogged with heavy wet snow. Users stick their hand in to unclog that, not knowing you can still get hurt even if the snowblower is turned off.
It still actually captured that kinetic rotational energy in the system. So the snowblower is actually off. And so you think you're safe, but you put your hand in there, but that energy is still stored in the machine. And as soon as you clear the snow or a rock, it captures your hand with the glove and pulls it in and causes your injury.
Yeah, don't do that. Doctors of the Mayo say the safest thing you could do after you unclog the snowblower, maybe just go back the old-fashioned way and clear the rest of the driveway with a shovel. Thanks for watching this edition of the Fox 9 Morning News. Keith will have the latest for you coming up at 11. We'll, of course, have the latest news information on our storm as well. Fox 9 Good Day is coming up next.